Well, hello. It's been a few days. How's everything been while I've been away taking care of myself? Everything been fine? That's good. I have been away taking care of myself, and I can truly say what a difference a day makes. It's only 24 hours. Well, actually, that's a lie. You know why? Because there's only 12 hours in a day. There's only 12 hours in a day in the AM, and there's 12 hours in the PM. They want you to think there's 24 hours a day so they can still, your nighttime beauty rest. It's only 12 hours in a day. So when I say what a difference a day makes, I mean a couple of 12-hour days. A couple of 12-hour days. All right, so let's just get to it. We want to know, Spirit, what it is that you have to say for us. What is the food for thought of the day? What is the food for thought of the day? Food for thought of the day. I should have took that. That was the mushroom, but it didn't fall the way out, and I just natural reflex to put it right back. So, but that was the mushroom. That means that there's situations that can grow out of hand, or it could either help you or harm you too. A mushroom can either, poison popped out, can either, the star popped out. That can help you. The wall popped out. All right. I like that. Ooh, bottom of the deck is the axe. You know, there's been a lot of cutting and chopping here lately. A lot of cutting and chopping here lately. I don't know about anybody else, but I can already tell that I can resonate with the cards that are here that Spirit wants us to know about. What is the food for thought? Clarity. Clarity in all things. Clarity. Not just clarity, but when there is harmful things around you, things that can cause you spiritual harm, it can cause you physical harm, it could cause you financial harm, it could cause you you know, economical harm. It can harm, it can cause you harm, right? It's poisonous, it's bad for you. Nothing good is going to come from it. You want clarity on what it is that Spirit is trying to show you. This is the star. It's the north. I would say too. What is coming to me is even the northern star. It's if you're ever spiritually, I'm speaking, you're lost. You don't know which direction to go. You know, spiritually, you look to your team, and you also ask the divine spirit for clarity, guidance, and direction. Because when you do that, you're not walking blindly. You already know you got a situation that you need to take care of. The bottom of the deck is telling you the axe. There's it's a lot of cutting and chopping going on, folks. It's a lot of trimming the fat. It's a lot of cutting and clearing away for those, trimming the fat for those that, are cooks and chefs. You cook at home, you're going to have to trim the fat off that meat. If you like being out in the garden and in the yard, you're going to have to chop away, you're going to have to put the axe to the root. You're going to have to dig up some roots, right? Of some weeds that is in there choking the life out of what it is that you're trying to plant and grow. If you are a person that likes to sew and put garments together, you're going to have to cut away that extra material that you don't need, or it's going to be big and bulky. You know what I mean? And the look of what it is, your creation that you're trying to create, that bulkiness, that extra string hanging off, or the extra material underneath that you didn't trim away, and then sew it down nice and tidy, is going to take away from your creation. Anything that I talked about, the fat is going to take away from the appeal of the food that you're trying to cook on it, or that meat you're trying to cook, right? The weeds in your grass and your yarn and your yard and your garden is going to take away from your yard appeal. So you have to get rid of the extra that's unnecessary, that you don't need. The reason why you look to this northern star, you look to the northern star because you're looking for direction and guidance and clarity, because that is what's going to prevent you. I went to the post office today, and this woman, and it's so profound, this woman that was ringing up, my money orders and stuff like that, she asked me to look at the screen just to make sure that the amounts that I gave her were what I gave her. Now, the third amount that I gave her, I gave it to her like 2 or 3 times, right? And so what I did, I had to repeat myself again, and I didn't mind because it was necessary. Because first of all, getting money orders at the post office can be a pain, because once they mess it up, then it's a whole production that they got to go through, because that every money order has a serial number. And that serial number is already input into the system. Your money's already been taken. They're saying that this money order has been sold and bought. And so therefore, when it comes to trying to get a replacement or an exchange, I don't know why it's so difficult and why they have to jump through hoops to do it, but I've seen them had to do it, and it happened to me. So she asked me to look at that screen, and she said, make sure these dollar amounts are correct. And lo and behold, the third one that I gave her, the third dollar amount that I gave her, she was $2 short. So the money orders, depending on how much the money order costs, it's not like such amount of money for the money order. Depends on how much the money order costs. It's going to determine, how much money you want on that money order is going to determine how much they are asking for that particular money order. So I had 3 different amounts on there. So I said, oh, this one is incorrect. And then she was like, okay. And then she asked me to repeat it again. So I did. And then she said, okay. She was like, okay, so that's what you said. She said, I'm glad I asked. So I said to her, I'm glad you did. So then she was like, she was like, when God speaks to you, she was like, you better listen, because, it could prevent things. And I said, exactly. You said, I just had this conversation with my oldest son yesterday, and he's not trying to hear me. He wants to do what he want to do. He's going to do what he wants to do, no matter what I say. So, and I've been seeing plenty of signs. I can see the signs. But because he wants to do what he wants to do so bad, he's ignoring the signs. And I said, and following your intuition or your gut feeling, that's going to be your saving grace to prevent you from having to have an experience that you didn't need to have, should you have listened to or paid attention to the signs and that was going to. And some of us are different. Some of us get a feeling, a gut feeling. Some of us, can hear an audible voice telling you da, 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 and giving you instruction. Some of us can, I already said hear an audible voice. Some of us just know because it's just an innate feeling. It's something that you can't, there's no way to explain it. It's information that just comes to you, and so you can see it in the spirit realm, you can hear it, you can feel it. Some things you can taste, you know what I mean? And honestly, I have all of those. They call them clair, what they call it, short term for clairs, but clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairvoyance, and there's so many more. I have 5 senses. see, hear, taste, touch, feel, and know. Also, I just know. And the information that I get never comes the same way. Sometimes it's signs and symbols. Sometimes it's color coordinates or correspondences. Sometimes, and that's how I know. Even with this spread here, so you got like the black or the dark brown, those are symbols. So the color is already telling you, that it's labeled as caution. And then you got the skull on there and bone. The star is yellow. That's for clarity, right? Intellect, mental clarity, communication. The spirits are talking to you as well. Then you got the red, means warning. And the brick is a hard stop. So you got the color and you have the physical evidence of a warning here, or a sign here, or danger here. You can get your understanding of what it is spirit is trying to speak to you if you paid attention. And spirit, because it's spirit will speak to you in many different ways. And the only way that you'll be able to be in tune or attuned to your team is if you spend time with them. If you look for things, and I'm not saying walk down the street looking up in the sky, looking behind you, to the right, to the left, and all. I'm not talking about that. But I mean, intentionally being aware that your team is with you no matter where you go, and they will communicate with you at any time. So she asked me to look at that screen, and I told her, I said, the one that I had to correct her on so many times, it was wrong. She said, I'm glad that, I asked you. And I told her again, I said, I'm glad I did. And we were both there talking about the spirit and why it's necessary. And even like mental telepathy, she was telling me about a time when she was braiding her daughter's hair and she was thinking something, but her daughter asked her the very question about what it is that she wanted to talk, that the mom, who I was speaking to at the post office, wanted to talk to her daughter about. She was going to bring it up. So she says to her daughter, well, were you reading my mind? Like, were you in my mind, reading my mind? Because that's exactly what I was getting ready to ask you. So, it's important to pay attention. And also, too, it's important to have that kind of connection, not just with your spiritual team, but with your parent. So there's messages here, and it can go for both ends. You know what I mean? There's messages for both sides. The post office situation, she paid attention to she paid attention to her intuition and what it was telling her to do, because she would have made a mistake that would have cost us time, her energy, frustration, and I would have just had to sit back and wait. For me, not to be upset that she didn't hear me the first time, impatient, being thankful that she took the time to ask me, is this correct? Could you take a look at that? And then for us to be able to have a conversation and we two be on the same page and have an understanding that it's important to have a relationship with spirit and your spiritual team, and to pay attention to how you're feeling. The spirit realm and the the world that we live in, it runs parallel, y'all. Another thing too, here's another message. And I'm not just talking about children, I'm just talking about anybody in your life. Work, home, relationship, anything that you have to associate yourself with. If you're around people who refuse to pay attention to the signs to you, that's a danger. Because while you see and you are paying attention to what's going on around you, to the context clues that you're being given time and time and time again, and you heed the message that's being given to you, you save yourself, You save your loved ones from an unnecessary hardship, or your co-workers, or your business partners, or your friends, your family members. You know what I mean? Anybody that you have some type of close relationship with, that you're going to have to be in that relationship for whatever reason. But if they don't pay attention to the signs, then that not only puts them in unnecessary danger, but it puts you in danger too, because you see what's going on. You have a conversation with them and you warn them about what's going on, and they just flag their hand. They just flag their hand at you, and you know what I'm saying? I'll be all right. It'll be okay. Just go ahead and go with it. If I would have told them, just bring it, you're good. I told you 3 times. Then I ignored the signs that were given her. And I would have caused myself an unnecessary hardship, time and energy, and maybe even patience. And then her aggravation, because then she's going to have to look at that transaction, see that it was incorrect. And even after she asked me to look at it, I refused and flagged my hand at her and told her to go ahead with it anyway, because we repeated it. And then now she's got to go back and correct it because it's incorrect. That's not the amounts that I need. For your family members and friends, I want you guys to understand this is important for your family members and your friends. But your family member, you first, your family members second, and then your friends, you might not have socialized, socialize with them or go out with them a lot, but they're important too until they're not. You have to make wise decisions for yourself then, because decisions that you make for yourself, it affects everybody else. Your decisions don't always only affect you. If you got friends and family members that you're living with, your decision is going to affect their living situation too, or their health too, right? Or the relationship and even the energy of the household. It affects everybody that lives there. Because you got one hardhead that won't pay attention and won't take heed to warnings and instruction. So then what do you got to do? You got to cut them off. You got to trim that fat. You got to get rid of that waste, because they're a problem and they will cause harm by not paying attention to the messages that are coming through to them or even you. And this is why you got to protect yourself. If they don't want to listen and follow instruction, if they don't want to give, thought to what's being said to them, or why you need to make the decisions that you need to make for yourself, because really it's going to benefit you and everybody that you're in close vicinity with. If they don't understand it, you got to get rid of that. Get rid of all trouble. Get rid of all things that would cause unnecessary harm. Get rid of all the people that are risk takers. For what reason? We're here to navigate our way, have our experiences, and navigate our way through this lifetime while we're here and learn the lessons. And this would be a hard lesson to have to learn right here, getting cut off because you didn't want to listen. Trouble was in the way. You was given signs, plenty of signs, plenty of symbols being shown you, plenty. And you refuse to listen. And so now what? Those that you love, they're going to be like, you know what? I tried to tell them. I got to protect myself now. Because what I'm finding is they're not listening. They never want to listen. They always want to be right. And so there that is, So let's see what else Spirit got to say here. If there's any other messages that Spirit has for us. I know I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that. Matter of fact, I just had that experience. So that definitely is meant for somebody else out there as well too. We're all connected, y'all. We all have same or similar types of situations we can relate to with one another. People that go through things, your job, when somebody crosses your path, it's time to share your experiences with them when it's appropriate. if they're ready to, if they're open to listening. You don't want to cast your pearls before swine. You don't want to waste your time, your energy, your breath to somebody who keeps, you know, disregarding the things that you have to say, and all you're trying to do is look out for their best interest. I don't know why a whole bunch of different Bible verses. I done left the church, but different Bibles verses, you know, is coming across. But just like a prophet has no honor in their own home or country. A prophet never has any honor in their own home or country. You always have to venture out before people can take, you know, before people really want to listen to what you got to say and take advantage of what it is that you have to bring to them. A prophet has no honor in their own country, and if damn if that ain't true right there. Divine Spirit, is there any other messages that you have for us? Anything else you want us to know? All right, there we go. Our answer right away. Curiosity. Let me tell you something about this. I have another spiritual experience that I had too that I should have listened. Curiosity will kill the cat. Satisfaction it's not going to always bring it back. Curiosity. Curiosity. Let me tell you about what curiosity can do and what not paying attention to your spiritual guidance that you're giving, your messages that you're giving will cause you. Again, unnecessary hardship. I remember I was driving down the hallway. I was driving down the highway not too long ago, and I kept hearing, "Don't go that way. Don't go that way." Clear as day, audible voice. "Don't go that way." And I was like, it's clear. I don't see anything. You know what I mean? And this is what your spiritual eye is for, so you can see the unforeseen. This is so you can know the unknown. And I didn't pay attention. Soon as I got off that highway, the whole road was blocked off. All lanes were closed. You couldn't get around nowhere because they had a whole bunch of people pulled out. It was a bad accident. It was like a 4 or 5 car accident. And the accident looked like it just happened. Maybe a few minutes, you know what I'm saying, before I got there. But nonetheless, I had been being told, as I'm traveling on the highway, don't go that way. Curiosity gonna get your ass in trouble. And then you're gonna find something out that you didn't have to find out, that you didn't need to find out, that Spirit didn't want you to find out if you had only listened. So not only did I only have a few minutes to get to where I needed to go, that's why I said, I'm gonna go straight, it looks clear. But now I got to find a different route. All the cars are backed up. Now I got to wiggle my way to the side and make this right turn. How am I going to get over there? Because people is going to be ignorant. You know what I mean? Because they're only thinking about themselves because they got to go where they need to go. What's one car, allowing one car to get over? Because you're still going to go straight. I need to get all the way over to the right lane so I can make this right. What's the harm in doing that? But what I couldn't be mad at that situation, because had I listened to my spirits telling me don't go that way, one, I could have found out. I could have been a part of that accident. It could have been me. Two, I can't be mad at those people not moving over. I mean, because if I had listened, this wouldn't be an issue. And now I've wasted time that I really didn't have because I had left late anyway. So I needed to listen. That's why Spirit was talking to me. Don't go that way. And I didn't listen. So I had to say, I immediately had to apologize, and I was humbled. What's the purpose in having the gift if you're not going to use it and use it properly? And it's disrespectful, one, to not use the gift for the purpose of helping yourself, because helping yourself is helping your ancestors. But it's disrespectful, too, to be given the gift because you're not using it to help others. And the only way that I can sharpen what I got is by paying attention and trusting the information that I'm receiving. So I'm very thankful that that woman Listen to her intuition, or what she was being told, what her spiritual team was telling her. I'm thankful for mines for giving me the patience, because understanding I've had this experience before where the money order machine got messed up, put the wrong information in there, and now it took about an hour to get that corrected. And getting what I needed and able to get to where I needed to be on time. So following signs, symbols, your intuition, your gut feeling, depending on how your gifts come to you, if there's audible voices that's coming to you from time to time, because you got to be careful too. People out here are not all mentally well either. That's how you know that if you're being told the right thing, or somebody just talking to you, something just talking to you. Because if that come to pass, and like, I didn't have to find out about that car accident. You know what I mean? But I'm thankful that I did, because what that showed me is not only was I hearing correctly, but it showed me, it revealed to me being hard-headed, I'm not proud of it. But going that way anyway, I was able to see what I missed out on, what they were preventing me from being a part of. So it's important to listen. It's important to pay attention. It's important to honor the divine spirit for giving you the gift that you got to help yourself, to have a closer relationship with your ancestors, and to guide you through this life. Because I'm trying to tell you, and if y'all don't see what's going on in this world today, you can't trust people. You cannot trust people. Just like you can't trust the spirit, the spirits, because there's lying ass spirits too. You got to be sharp. You got to be on it. You got to be dedicated. You have to know that this is important to you, to your family lineage, to wherever you're going in life, so that you can get there. Because if you don't pay attention, you're going to run up against a brick wall every time. So my advice to you, humbly, cut the shit. Get on your square. Pay attention. Pay attention. If you ask for clarity and the clarity is being given to you, receive it. And cut all the, get rid of the bullshit. Get rid of it, because it's not good for you. This is Wise Savvy Sage, where the wise are also prudent. What a difference a day makes. A day is only 12 hours. I want you to know that, believe that, because it's only 12 hours. You got 12 hours of AM, 12 hours of PM. Okay? And don't be so damn curious to get yourself in trouble. If spirit is warning you, it's not meant for you to find out what the hell it is, you know what I'm saying, that you're missing out on. It could be a life or death situation. Sometimes when spirit warns you and you follow that instruction, you're not going to always know what it is that you missed out on. Just be thankful that you were warned and that you followed instruction, and you missed out on the opportunity for some bullshit to happen to you, which then can snowball. It'll affect you. It'll affect your family. It'll affect, anybody close to you that gives a damn about you. Don't be so curious. Everything, you don't have to know everything. Build a relationship with your ancestors. They have an invested interest, and I'm talking about only the ones that cared about you, that loved you, that wanted to see you do well, that made sure that if you were sick, they got you back healthy. If you didn't have, they made sure that they gave so you did have. I'm talking about them. Not the ones that was sitting out there lying to you, manipulating, abusing you, and all of that other crap. I mean, they could be used for something else. I'm not even going to get into that. But the ones that have your best interest at heart, trust me. Trust me. This is Wise Savvy Sage, where the wise are also prudent. Tomorrow's a new day.